Well, Israel did the unthinkable. IDF bombed Doha, a key US ally. Everyone thought that the rules of engagement will change dramatically. But did it really happen? Well, the emergency Arab-Islamic summit in Doha on September 15th ended exactly as predicted, with fierce rhetoric but zero concrete action against Israel. Leaders from 57 nations across the Arab League, an organization of Islamic cooperation, gathered amid global outrage over Israel's airstrike on Hamas leaders in Qatar's capital. Yet, their collective response amounted to little more than strongly worded letters and diplomatic theatre. The summit's final communique read like a familiar script from decades of similar gatherings. It strongly condemned Israel's covert and unlawful attack on Qatari soil, expressed full solidarity with Qatar, and warned about Israel's brutal aggression undermining peace prospects. In fact, the statement even called for reviewing diplomatic and economic relations with Israel and suspending its UN membership. But beneath this thunderous rhetoric lays a glaring absence of any binding commitments, concrete sanctions, oil embargoes, or even coordinated economic pressure. Well, what made this summit particularly revealing was its timing and context. Israel has just struck sovereign Qatari territory, home to the largest US air base in the region and America's closest Gulf ally. The attack targeted Hamas leaders who were literally discussing a US brokered ceasefire proposal. If such brazen aggression against a key American partner couldn't provoke meaningful Arab actions, well, nothing could. Yet the summit's most sustainable outcome was the Gulf Cooperation Council's vague promise to activate Joint Defense Mechanism, without any elaboration of what that actually means. Well, the reasons from this perpetual cycle of rhetoric without actions are deeply rooted in the Arab world's strategic calculations and internal contradictions. Economic dependency stands as the primary obstacle to meaningful resistance. Countries like Jordan depend on Israel for essential water and energy supplies, with Israeli gas amounting for over 70% of Jordan's electricity production. Well, then comes Egypt, which relies heavily on Israeli natural gas due to depleting domestic reserves and re-exports it to Europe for badly needed hard currency. Well, the UAE has emerged as a major buyer of Israeli arms, with defense exports growing from $0 to $2.9 billion between 2020 and 2022 following the signing of Abraham Accords. Now, another very important aspect is the fear of Israeli escalation. Arab leaders have learned from the history that direct confrontation with Israel often backfires. The 1967 Six-Day War demonstrated Israel's capability to use Arab aggression as justification for territorial expansion and international sympathy. By maintaining a defensive posture and avoiding military responses, Arab states hope to preserve Israel's image as regional aggressor while positioning themselves as reasonable actors seeking diplomatic solutions. Now comes the most important. American pressure and financial dependency further constrain Arab options. Many Arab governments receive substantial US military aid and host American bases that provide security guarantees against regional threats like Iran. Breaking with Iran would risk jeopardizing these security arrangements and economic relations with Washington. Well, Egypt amplifies this dynamic, having receiving billions in US aid since signing its peace treaty with Israel. Well, the Iran factor complicates Arab calculations further. Many Arab states view Iran as their primary regional threat and worry that supporting Palestine resistance effectively means backing Iranian proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah. Well, this creates an awkward situation where Arab governments must balance public sympathy for Palestinians against geopolitical concerns about Iranian influence. Well, the summit also revealed the gap between popular sentiment and state policy across the Arab world. While Arab populations remain sympathetic to Palestinians and hostile to Israel, their governments operate according to the realpolitik rather than public opinions. Perhaps more fundamentally, Arab leaders recognize that symbolic solidarity serves their interest better than costly confrontation. Condemning Israel and expressing support for Palestinians satisfies both domestic audience and maintain the appearance of pan-Arab unity without risking the substantial economic and security benefits that many Arab states derive from the current regional order. This approach allows them to have it both ways, maintaining their credentials as defenders of Arab dignity while preserving profitable relations with Israel and its Western allies.